there, Lindsay here, the Frugal Crafter. It is Sat Chat time. Are we rolling? Yes, we are. I think yes, we are. Oh, firing on all cylinders today. Actually, I'm not crushing it. I'm like, okay, today I gotta get Critique Club filmed. I want to make a Father's Day card, and I gotta film Sat Chat. And it's actually Thursday at, oh, it's almost 3 when I'm filming this, because tomorrow on Friday I'm going to the botanical gardens with 3 other YouTuber friends of mine, and we're gonna paint all day. And so in order to take off Friday, I need to get stuff done. And I don't know, I'm definitely not my most effective self today in this painting. I'll show you how it's going. I see the potential in this. You might not see the potential in this, but that's how we're going so far. It started off as a watercolor, and it's a painting of this Vespa, this like vintage looking Vespa scooter that I took a picture of in Key West. And so I sketched it out with a graphitin, and I added watercolor wash over it because I wanted to see how this paper worked, because I found this paper when I was at the stamp show, not at the stamp show, but in West Springfield at Michael's, and this is 100% cotton, made in Italy. And the regular price was $40, and it was on clearance for $20. And then they had the bigger pad that was like 12 by 16, regular $60, on clearance for $30. And I thought, man, 100% cotton made in Italy, that's probably by Fabriano. And I know Fabriano does make some papers for other companies. They have different grades. And I was like, you know, I wonder if that's like their Artistico or if it's something similar or what. But I wanted to try it out. And I also wanted to try it out and be able to tell people whether it was worth it or not, because that's a great price. Because even if you just Google 100% cotton watercolor paper on Amazon, you're going to get, probably the cheapest you're going to find would be Meeden and Bauhaum, which are great papers, but they're still more than that for that size. And Paul Rubens and Lightwish and stuff, which are, you know, decent papers, but you know, they're still a little bit more than those Michael's clearances are. And then people can go right into a Michael's and pick them up. And, you know, it's hard to find affordable watercolor paper in store. And it's really hard to find, like, to recommend stuff that people can just go out and get, because there's not that many art stores around. And most people are within driving distance of a Michael's. So I thought that would be kind of interesting. And then I went online and I checked, and actually our store in Bangor, Maine has them. They have them in stock. I was really surprised by that, because when our store opened up, it was during the pandemic, and I don't feel like they ever really got their shelves stocked, and that one in West Springfield is enormous. And it's kind of like a Michael's on steroids, because it has so much stuff. So so we go in there anytime we go to the stamp show, we'll go down there. So we went, we checked into our hotel, we had dinner, and oh, there was this great Japanese place right there at the hotel. It was so good. And then we went over, actually right across the street from Michael's. It was like the best location. And so I popped over there and just went down all the aisles, which is kind of a luxury. You know, I don't know why I don't do that when I'm in my own hometown, but just to go down every aisle. It's probably because if I'm running in there, I'm running there for a very specific thing that I've got to have and use right away, because like I've run out of something and I need it for a video or whatever. But it was just really nice. It was nice to spend time with my friends and just have a good weekend. So I got some comments last weekend like, why didn't you tell us you were going? I was within driving distance. It's like, I didn't know I was going until days before I went. So the way this trip went down, I think I talked about it a little bit last week. The way this trip went down was I got an email from the StamperCon, which used to be Heirloom Productions, just saying, oh, West Springfield show's coming up this weekend, blah, blah. And they've sent out a few emails. So I was thinking, oh, that might be kind of fun to go. It's like, oh, I haven't been in so long. And the closer it got, the more I'm thinking, oh, I wish I signed up to go. I wish we made plans to go. That would have been so much fun. And then it was about a week before, and I looked at my husband. I said, hon, would you mind if not that I need to ask permission for my husband to do anything, but I was like, what would you think if I just like asked Kathy if she wanted to come down to West Springfield with me, and we went to the stamp show, drive down first thing in the morning, go to the show, and then have supper and drive home? And he's like, you know, whatever you want to do. And so I messaged her, and she's like, oh, I am so in. I'm like, okay, great. Messaged my friend Cindy. She's like, I'm not going to repeat what she said. So then we made the plans. We're going to go down there. We're just going to do it in one day. And then a couple days go by, and I'm thinking, actually, that seems really daunting. I'm thinking about like my energy levels, and driving 10 hours in one day doesn't seem like something I'm cut out for. And so I asked my husband, like, what would you think if we stayed over one of those nights? He's like, I would prefer that, actually. So I messaged her, what do you think about staying over one of the nights? And she was like, yes, absolutely, 100%. I would much rather do that. So so then my friend Cindy was on board, and then Cindy goes, have you asked Lorraine if she's going? And I'm like, do you remember Ask a Crafter? Just remember when Lorraine and Kathy, they were both Ask a Crafter guests at one point. So I'm like, probably she always goes. She's her sister-in-law lives down there. So I messaged her. She's like, no, I'm not going this year. My husband doesn't want to drive, and because his sister isn't there. She's, I guess, still like in her winter home. And I'm like, you want to come with us? And she's like, oh, I shouldn't. But then like 2 minutes later, she's like, I'm in. And so we all rode down together. Oh my gosh, I hadn't laughed so hard. I was laughing. I drove the whole thing. And so, because it was just 5 hours each way, and it was on 2 different days, oh my gosh, they had me laughing so bad. My eyes were, I was like crying. I was laughing so hard. I had like a stitch in my side. I was laughing so hard. Oh my gosh, you need that. You need that sometimes. You just need to be laughing so hard you can barely catch your breath and you can barely keep your car on the road. You know, just on just on the razor edge of danger. Lorraine's found, like, Lorraine, I need a tissue. Lorraine, I need a tissue. Lorraine does not have enough panic in her voice to warn me of things, though. I don't know if she's going to have front seat privileges again, because, you know, she's like, toot, 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 toot. And I'm like, what are you saying? There's like somebody like this, like pulling out in front of me, and she's like telling me to beat my horn, but going toot, toot. Like, you need to have more panic in your voice, Lorraine, if you want me to respond. But we got there, we got back safe and sound, and we had a great weekend. I filmed a little walkthrough, and I posted that the other day on my YouTube channel. You can find that right on my channel if you are interested. And then I will post just a show and tell of what I got while I was there. That's going to come up Monday, I think. That's what I have it scheduled for. I found some really cool stuff. I don't feel like I did too much damage, but it was fun. And I've actually used some of the stuff I already bought. I bought some little containers and some like those photo storage containers. Michael set them on sale, and I bought a pack of Tim Holtz collage, like Christmas collage pieces at the Stampers Anonymous booth, and I organized them. I split the Christmassy ones into a red container and all the other ones into just the wintry ones into a clear container, and then I might kind of reorganize my card making card a little bit. Plus, it'll just be good to go through stuff and just reinvigorate my brain as to what I have in there. I know pretty well, but sometimes, you know, you just get inspired when you start organizing and cleaning stuff up. So that was so much fun. Yeah, we all had a great time. One thing we didn't do, because we left right after the show, because we went down Friday night and then went to the show on Saturday and we left right after the show, is that we didn't see what each other bought. And usually what we'll do is we'll go for like 2 days and we'll share everything we bought like that night in like the breakfast nook or something in the hotel, and we'll like see what we all got and use it and craft and whatnot. And so we didn't have that because it was really a rushed trip. So if we do it again next year, I think I would, you know, want to make a plan far enough in advance so everyone can like save up and do a couple nights and, you know, get that crafting time in, because that was so much fun. And then, you know, I would be able to tell people ahead of time, you know, and it was fun because some people came up to me and like, I know who you are, or they recognize my voice more likely. I'd be just trying to do a little stealth video in a booth, and like, oh, I know you. So that's kind of funny. It was actually really slow on Saturday when we went. I guess people tend to go the first day, because, and I've always noticed that. It used to be Saturday, Sunday. The show used to be open. We do classes on Friday, so I'd go up Thursday night and I would teach on Friday, and then I would shop on Saturday and Sunday. And they shifted it because Saturdays were always really busy. The classes were busy on Friday and nothing would be going on Sunday. Sunday was really slow, so they shifted it. But now Fridays are really busy and Saturdays are dead. So I think people want to get there. Maybe people want to go on that first day. They probably take off work and they just go that first day. Or a lot of retired people too, because they don't want to miss out. They want to make sure they have the best selection, and then they don't go on the second day. But I figure these booths are going from town to town to town. I'm sure they have plenty of stock. I wouldn't think of anything. There was plenty to buy on Saturday, let me just say that. I wouldn't be worried about them running out because, you know, I'm sure they do this every weekend. So they are, you know, they're always bringing out new stuff. So I wasn't worried about that. There was plenty of things. I got some great deals too, because when I was going through everything I bought, because I filmed the show and tell video, and I was kind of listening back to the video and just seeing if I could find these products online, and I think I could for most things. I got some really good deals on some Sizzix dyes, and yeah, looking especially on like Simon Says Stamp and scrapbook.com, they were like the dies that I got for $12.50, they were legitimate Sizzix dies, Sizzix packaging from a reputable retailer. They just had them 50% off. They must have been going out of that one, or maybe they got a big bulk buy of them or something. They were $28.99 on those two stores, and then the official Sizzix website on Amazon had them cheaper. But it was really interesting to see. It's like, okay, because usually I don't go to the stamp shows for the deals generally, because they're generally going to be full retail price, because these vendors have to rent space. They have to rent these booths. It gets expensive. They have to stay in a hotel. They have to have all their stuff shipped out, or they have to drive it out themselves. And you know, it's a bit of an investment. So I wouldn't expect to pay less than I would online. I would expect to pay full retail price. So I was kind of pleased that I got such a good deal on things that I plan on using. I didn't go too crazy, and I've put everything in a basket so that they'll be right in here, and the next thing I'm going to use is going to be from that. And actually, I want to make Father's Day cards, and I know time is nigh here. And I want to use this set that I got from Sizzix that has these cute little, almost like Dick and Jane type characters, and a little dog, and dies to match and stuff. So that's what I plan on using first. Actually, I was planning on using my Lost Coast stamps for, I don't know, I get a lot I want to use. I'm going to leave it right in here in a basket so I don't forget about it. Because sometimes, you know, especially when you buy a lot of things at once, like you do in a stamp show, right? Because you're making the effort to go down there. You get all these things at once, you may forget this or that you picked up, and I don't want that to happen. So yeah. And this week I colored my hair on Tuesday. I just styled it today. I'm not sure about this color. It's a mix. I mixed medium blonde and dark blonde, because the medium blonde is a medium ash blonde, and it is way too ashy for my hair. Like when I used it on its own before, and my hair looked like it was like you'd gone swimming in the swimming pool and your hair turned green. Like it had that like little bit of a green tint. I'm like, oh, that will not do. I had to do like a honey blonde color gloss over it to get rid of the green. So I had to go red to get rid of the green. And so I mixed that with a dark blonde, which is just kind of like a smousy blonde. And actually, it's pretty close to my natural hair color, I would say. It looks lighter on camera, I think, than it does. But I was just feeling like the bright blonde was really washing me out and really aging me. And I don't know if it's the blonde hair or my lifestyle or what. Probably my age and lifestyle is what's really washing me out and aging me, but I'm just sure I'm going to find that right hair color, and then, you know, I'm going to look 25. But but anyway, that's my most recent hair color. My husband likes it. I've styled it today, because usually I just kind of color it and leave it alone for a bit, and I don't know. Well, you know, if there's one thing, it's summertime, and, you know, hair color will fade anyway, so if it's too dark. I don't think it's too dark. I just don't feel like it has the depth of color that I want, so I might need to do like a gloss over it or something to increase its luminosity or something. But there it is. There it is. I was feeling like I was just so washed out lately, and I've been using the tanning lotion, the Jergens Natural Glow, the sunless tanning lotion, and it does bring some color. But I'm still just feeling so washed out. So hopefully that helps. I don't know. We'll see. We'll have to see how I feel about it in a few days. It's still shocking. It's shocking to look in the mirror this week, because, whoa, that is so dark. And when I was coloring it, my hair was really dark. Like I set a timer for 20 minutes so I didn't overdo it, because sometimes I'll just like snooze the timer and go about what I'm doing. And I looked and I'm like, oh, wow. I'm like, well, might be a brunette. But it was just how it looks weird, you know, until you wash it out. Oh my gosh, so much happened this week. Holy cow. So we're in West Springfield, and our friend Tracy messages us, and she's like, did you guys hear about Michael's being bought by Joanne? Joanne being bought by Michael's. I'm like, what? So apparently Michael's has bought all of Joann's, like their name brands, their lines, their intellectual property and stuff. And I was like, wow, that is, that could be really great. That's going to be really great if they do bring in the yarns and the fabrics and things that Joanne carried. If they want to know my opinion, which I don't think anyone cares, but if they want to know my opinion, get rid of the home decor, get rid of the seasonal decorations, and put fabric in there. Have an actual art and craft store instead of like fleshing it out with furniture and home decor and junk like that. Just focus on the arts and crafts. Focus on the products that people need. There's no competition really. Just get in there, get the fabrics and get all the crafts so people can actually go, and especially with yarn and fabric and stuff, people want to touch that. They want to know that it's not scratchy and they want to feel the quality. So if they do that, I think that's great. When Michaels came to our town, they were replacing an AC Moore. They bought out all of AC Moore's IP, and I think they kept the Doris and maybe the Nicole lines going, but I think I think that was it. I didn't see much. I think they kept Premier yarns, but they didn't keep any of the Premier art supplies like Premier markers or any of those other things. I like the Premier markers. Those were pretty good. I think that was actually a Nicole company, but there wasn't, it didn't seem like they did that much, although they did have dyes, and they do look very similar to the ones Nicole used to sell, the Love Nicole line from AC Moore, so maybe they just rebranded it. They kept the factory open and they just rebranded it. I don't know how it all works, but they bought the intellectual property of Joann's. Now they have bought out a lot of different stores over the years, Pat Catan's, Aaron Brothers, and they used to run a website called Consumer Crafts where there would be, they would buy out all these stores, and I think this is how it happened, because they would have a lot of stuff that you could buy at Michael's, but they would have a lot of really great name brand high quality art supplies too. But I think it was just them going through and buying out the stores and stocking them there, and then once they ran out of stores to buy, they closed down the Consumer Crafts website, which was such a bummer because there were so much, I got so many really great deals on stock supplies, name brands there. So that was kind of a bummer that that was no longer around. So it'll be interesting to see how that goes. Blick bought McPherson's, and I think I mentioned that in the last video because that sale had gone through, and they bought all the intellectual property. And St. Louis Art Supplies sent out a kind of a scathing newsletter about Blick buying McPherson's and then being a wholesaler to all these independent craft stores who they are also a competitor with. And I was like, well, it's better than them going out of business. At least they can have access to those products now. But I see what they mean. Then somebody else said, I think what their problem is that they're selling the products for more than what McPherson's was charging. But McPherson's couldn't stay afloat, so maybe that's what has to happen. I don't know. It's really hard to know how businesses need to run in order to be solvent. You know, obviously McPherson's wasn't solvent. And who knows, maybe it was a situation of private equity coming in and loading them up with debt and running them into the ground, which happens quite a bit. I think that happened to Joann's. So who knows, but it's definitely an interesting time. And another thing that just happened was that there's a blanket company, and if you want more information on this particular topic, check out the Sewing Report Live. She's done a lot of videos on this. She's done a lot of videos on the whole Joann's thing as well. So she covers that quite a bit. She used to be a reporter. I had her on the podcast once. And she's doing this, doing all kinds of videos on this. But the company that owns Butterick, Vogue, McCall's, Simplicity, all of those pattern companies, they're selling all of their North American division to a liquidator. And who knows what's going to happen. So this company, which is a company out of the UK, I believe, they're selling their North American division, and they also own Dritz, Wrights, I think Dritz and Wrights, Offray Ribbon, a bunch of other craft brands that you know and love. And they're selling it to a liquidator. They've sold it to a liquidator for $1 with the contingency that they get 75% of the proceeds of sales. So I don't know if that means 75% of the profits, or because it seems like it'd have to be profits if they just give them 75% of everything, but it costs money to sell it. I don't know, but that's huge because, I mean, you could get those patterns in Walmart even. I remember like when I first got back into sewing, I would go get the It's So Easy patterns. I think they're from Simplicity, and they were right in Walmart. And I remember buying a pattern for a dress. It was like, I think I paid like $3.50 for the pattern. That was their everyday price. And I bought the fabric right there, and I came home and sewed myself the dress. And it was a lot of fun. And I found those patterns to be very easy to follow and not intimidating. And the prices were good. I didn't feel like I was, you know, spending a lot more than it would cost to buy a dress. You know, now it feels like, and maybe fast fashion has just hit the fabric industry so hard that you can't, it's been probably since the 90s or maybe even the 80s that you can't make it for the price, that you can't make it for the price you can buy it for. But now with like the ultra fast fashion, maybe that has done enough to keep people from garment sewing. because quilting seems to be doing just fine. There's all kinds of quilt fabric shops, at least in my area. In the state of Maine, there's probably 30 quilting fabric shops. But it's like the garment fabric. I think it's just people like, I can buy it cheaper. You know, unless you want to do something really specific like formal wear or costume wear or maternity clothes or maybe new baby stuff that's just kind of fun to sew because it's cheap and small, because it's just small little things. Not necessarily cheap, but you know, cheaper than, you know, adult people garments. It's just cheaper to buy it already done. You can try it on, make sure it fits, and then buy it. You know, obviously if you're ordering it, that's not the case, but has it been that bad? Has the industry been that bad for this long? Or is it like a over indebted company finally hitting the end of its rope? I don't know. But it certainly is interesting. And if you look at the talk online and the outrage on and the interaction on posts on Facebook and whatnot, you would think there's plenty of people out there shopping, but that could just be the vocal minority, you know, that, and maybe there really isn't that much interest. I know unless there was like a huge sale at Joann's, I wouldn't see a crowd there. But I didn't even go during the whole clearancing liquidations time at Joann's because I just thought it was kind of depressing. And plus I didn't think the sales were very good. It's like you could get better prices every day at Joann's. These sales are not that great. But I do know a lot of people went to stock up because they just didn't know if they were going to be able to get their fabrics after that. So let me know where you buy fabrics in the comments below. That will help other people if you can recommend a place that you like to use. I know it's a little dodgy buying fabric online. I've never bought fabric online. No, I don't think I've ever bought fabric online. So if you have some recommendations, leave them in the comments below. That will help others that are in kind of a situation where they need the fabric and they don't know where to go or who to trust or where to buy from, because yeah, it's kind of wild right now. I revamped the pottery shed this week. Basically, it was just pull everything out. Oh my gosh, so gross. So much mouse poop. I swear in the 2 years since I've done pottery out there, I made the mistake of putting all my like canvas, I have a bunch of canvas squares that I sewed the edges, and they're great for like, if you need to roll out clay because the clay won't stick to the canvas. I just had them all tossed in a bin. I think I had a 5-star mouse hotel out there because there was little mouse poops everywhere and it was so disgusting. I had to throw some away because some were just too gross. Perhaps like bleaching. I bleached anything that was salvageable, washed it, then washed it again. So it's all right. And I have them hanging from clips now so mice can't nest in them. But yeah, they had it good. The mice had it good out there. But I made a little pot yesterday. And I'm thinking this year I might, because a couple of years ago I did mugs and bowls and all sorts of pottery for people, and I didn't realize that the glazing, there was something wrong, defective with glazing, because I made the pottery, let it dry, had it fired at a local ceramic shop. Then I went to the ceramic shop. If you pay for the firings there, you can use their underglazes. So I did the underglazing, and then they do the clear glazing. They dunk it in a big tank of underglaze, clear gloss glaze. So they'll put clear gloss over whatever you do. And everything came back looking great. But then I made a cup of tea in one of the mugs. Now, mind you, I'd already given away all of these mugs and pots and everything for Christmas. And I make a cup of tea, and what do I see but a pattern of crazing all over the inside of the mug. And I'm like, oh no. And then so I'm like Googling it. Is it safe to drink out of mugs that have crazing in it? And it's like, well, that means bacteria can get in there. And I'm like, oh no. So I had to call people and say, don't use your murder mugs because I don't know what's going to happen. The glazing is wrong. I felt so bad. So then I was thinking, so then I didn't even want to do pottery. So I'm like, I can't control the whole process because I don't put the clear glaze on. And if I can't control the whole process, I don't want to invest so much time and money into something that might just be a total bust. And then I thought, what if I make plant pots? And I can make plant pots if they're a little wonky. I mean, that could actually be kind of cute and charming. I've got some like colored slip. Basically, it's like a paint you can put on greenware, and then so I can actually make it here, trim it, put the greenware glaze on it, take it in, have them fire it twice, like bisque fire it, and then just do a clear glaze on that. And then I can give them with potted plants. Either I can plant things like basil or oregano, things like that. If I know they like a certain type of cuisine that they like to cook, I could plant them with herbs that they would like. Or I could just go to like Home Depot and buy some house plants, like some aloe or some different succulents, stuff like that. Stuff that I can keep alive long enough to give them for Christmas and stuff. And I thought that might be a really fun little like handmade gift to make, because when you get to a certain age, and everybody you give gifts to is adults, we all have everything, right? We have everything. And so if we're going to add something to the collection, we want it to be kind of quirky, unique, maybe, you know, and obviously I want to make high quality things to give to friends and family. But I mean, who doesn't love plants and have another plant, especially the rate I go through plants, you know, it'd be nice to have another plant, always a welcome gift. Or I could just buy poinsettias at Christmas time and just set the poinsettia inside the handmade pot or something. I just have to make sure I make the pots big enough or the right size to hold that. Or I could repot it. I could repot it into the pots. But anyways, I thought that would be kind of fun and unique and a neat way to give something handmade that's also something that somebody wants. And that's a tricky thing, I think, with handmade gifts, to give something that you like making that somebody else wants to receive. And like my number one handmade gift is the scrapbook calendar that I give my mom, my parents every year. They always love that. And sometimes I'll make one for my sister, or I'll scrapbook something that if she has a bunch of photos, I'll scrapbook her like an album with her photos. But other than, or jewelry or something like that, it's tough. It can be really tough. I mean, how many mittens can you give somebody? How many hats can you give somebody, like stocking hats, before they're like, I am at peak saturation of hats, no more hats, no more knitwear. And that knitting also takes a long time, so yeah, I don't know. But that's what I was thinking. What would you think? Would you like to receive a handmade pot with a plant in it? Let me know. Is that a good gift, or are you like, Lindsay, no, you're just giving people you're doing that for you, not for them? You know, that's why I was also worried about when I'm giving crafts. Am I doing it for me, or am I doing it for them? I want to do it for them, right? Oh, we also had a really fun thing this week. I went out to lunch, went out to dinner actually with my friends, I won't say new friends because we've known each other for over a year, but Nicole and Frank from Germany. Hey guys! We went out to Mason's for dinner. We had a great time. It was so much fun. And yeah, our husbands got along really great, which is always good when you introduce your girlfriend's husbands to your husband, and to see everybody get along really well. So that was fun. They're visiting from Germany, so that was great to connect. And also yeah, made me more excited for the Italy retreat this fall. And yeah, time to plan next year. I'm in the planning stages of next year's retreat as well. I feel like time is just flying. Do you feel like that? Is it? I know the older you get, the faster time goes, but I just hope that by keeping my days varied and learning new things, that it will slow the heck down a little bit. Because I always figured that's why time goes so slow for little kids, is because they're learning new things all the time. I try to learn new things all the time, and time is still just flying by. It's like, where did the week go? How has it been almost a week since I got back from the stamp show? I don't know. It's really unreal. It's really unreal. That's deep. Anyway, that's all I have for you this week. I hope you're having a wonderful weekend. I'll make sure you check out my Instagram if you want to see pictures from the botanical gardens. We're down there painting. It's plein air days this weekend. If you happen to be in the southern coastal Maine area and you want to take part, you can check out the Coastal Maine Botanical Gardens and request free tickets for painters this weekend. And maybe I'll see you there. Make sure you say hello if I do. Anyway, that's all I have for today. Thank you so much for watching. Until next time, happy crafting. Bye!